Revenge with Karen.
I thought we weren't allowed to cry in the stairwell anymore, Vanessa said out loud, laughing to herself as she leaned back against the metal railing, phone in hand, filming a reel titled POV. You just got told you're so reliable instead of getting promoted. A single light flickered overhead like it had a migraine. The stairwell on 6 was her sanctuary, out of security cam range, quiet enough to hear her thoughts, loud enough from the hum of the AC that nobody eavesdropped. She balanced her Tupperware on her knee, half-eaten couscous, and the remnants of toddler carrots staring back at her like they too were clocking overtime. Behind her smile was a weariness only mothers knew, when your kid's up with a fever till 3 a.m., then pukes on your only clean blouse, and you still make the 9:15 budget call with your camera on and a fresh slide deck ready to go. Vanessa Matthews, 39, senior content strategist for Larch and Flint, mid-sized marketing firm with big agency dreams, had learned how to make herself essential without being spotlighted. Her superpower, never needing applause. She was the quiet architect behind several award-nominated client campaigns, the one who wrote brand manifestos in 2 a.m. email drafts and cleaned them up before anyone logged into Slack. She'd been there 8 years, outlasted 4 CMOs, 2 restructurings, and a merger that left everyone with the same title but new lanyards. At work, they called her the ghostwriter. No drama, no noise, just results. Outside of work, though, she was slowly building something else at Working Mom in Heels. An Instagram page that started as a joke when her son called her the laptop lady and now hovered just over 48,000 followers. It wasn't massive, but it was real. Real enough for her reels to be reshared by women she admired, for DMs to pile in from fellow moms who felt seen. Her content wasn't thirst traps or clickbait. Just grainy hallway fits, glimpses of outfits she patched together between diaper duty and 7 a.m. meetings. Sound bites about corporate absurdity, like the time someone scheduled a brainstorming meeting at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, when HR sent a congrats on your work anniversary gif, but spelled her name wrong. She kept her content tight, relatable, respectful, never named the company, never used logos, never filmed anyone else. Just her and the soft chaos of juggling motherhood with a career no one ever quite knew how to promote her out of. Her husband, Marcus, joked that she lived a double life, PowerPoint by day, punchlines by night. And truthfully, she kind of did. She'd film at night, whispering voiceovers in the bathroom while her son finally slept. Here's how I prep for meeting where I'm included for visibility, but not asked to speak. She'd stitch it over a time-lapse of her ironing a shirt, applying concealer, and sipping coffee with a 1,000-yard stare. Then she'd wake up, pack lunches, drop off at daycare, and walk into work where nobody really saw her, just the spotless reports, the typo-free decks, the reliable presence. Vanessa was a B-plus student in a workplace that handed out A's for volume, not value. But she didn't mind, not really. She'd carved out a lane where she could breathe, a quiet rhythm. Her coworkers liked her well enough. She brought gluten-free muffins to team meetings, covered for interns who forgot deadlines, stayed late when a client flipped the script and wanted a full rebrand on a Thursday. But admiration, that was reserved for the loud ones who name-dropped industry influencers in meetings and posted team selfies with captions like "Killin' the game, collision briefcase nail." Vanessa would usually be in the background of those shots, half visible, mid-blink, blurred at the edge. The camera never lingered on her. She was a fixture, not a feature, which suited her just fine. Until one day, she walked into the pantry and felt the shift. It wasn't big, just a weird silence when she entered. Too quick swipe of a phone screen. An odd glance from Kelsey in HR. She brushed it off, until it happened again, and again. Vanessa noticed things most people didn't. That was her whole job, understanding tone, reading between lines, spotting what wasn't said. So when, during a Monday all-hands, the weekly spotlight was given to a junior strategist for elevating team culture through external storytelling, and everyone clapped like seals on cue, she blinked. He'd been running a quiet external storytelling campaign for years. But that wasn't what they meant. The next day, she found a note slipped into her cubicle inbox, HR's annual social media policy refresher. Just a reminder, it said in Comic Sans for some ungodly reason, that your personal social media presence should reflect the company's values and tone. No signature, just vibes. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. She hadn't posted anything questionable. No cursing, no rants. Her content was cleaner than the CEO's LinkedIn. Still, something was off. She wasn't paranoid, not yet, but she was alert, aware. A little more quiet in meetings, a little less open with her screen. She started filming her reels in her car instead of the stairwell. She stopped tagging generic hashtags like #officelife, and her follower count ticked up ever so slowly. 48.2K, then 48.6K. One night, as she sat cross-legged in bed editing a clip titled Corporate Gaslighting Starter Pack. "You're so easy to work with equals, we're never promoting you," she saw a new comment notification. At Real Harper M liked your reel. At Real Harper M commented this. Clapping, 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 Vanessa stared at the name for a long time. It couldn't be, could it? She clicked the profile. Verified. 4.1 million followers. Spokesperson for 6 major brands. Style guru. Body positivity advocate. Host of Morning Reset on YouTube. The exact kind of face that Larch and Flint had been breathlessly teasing as the lead for their mysterious Q4 mega campaign. Vanessa blinked, set her phone down, and whispered, well, shit. The stall door barely closed before the voices came in, heels clicking, paper towel crumpling, perfume spraying like a damn aerosol assault. Vanessa stayed still, hand hovering over the toilet paper dispenser like she'd forgotten what she came in for. So did you see her latest video? Oh my god, yes. The one with the lip gloss and the working mom realness vibe? I almost choked on my yogurt. She really thinks she's an influencer. The third voice, Kelsey, HR associate, 20-something, always in a turtleneck like she's allergic to sunlight, snorted. Next thing you know, it's going to be pitching herself as the face of Larch and Flint. Laughter. Like loud laughter. Open-mouthed, shrieking laughter. Vanessa blinked, her face flushed, not with embarrassment, no, this was something more acidic. Shame laced with fury. Honestly, I thought she was cool at first. One of them continued. Like mysterious older millennial energy. But then she started posting all that passive-aggressive crap. Like, here's how I survive meetings where I don't matter. Does she think she is? I bet she's hoping to get noticed and quit. Like, land some brand deal. Girl, you are 40 with a kindergartner and a Toyota Corolla. Calm down. Another burst of giggles. One of them wheezed. The stall's metal walls felt thinner than paper. Vanessa didn't breathe. Not even when the automatic air freshener hissed out its lavender lie from above. She didn't recognize the other two voices, probably new HR hires. Fresh out of college, turned associates, badge photos still laminated with hope. But that didn't matter. What mattered was that her quiet corner of the internet, the one she built without hurting anyone, without crossing lines, without ever dragging her employer, was now a goddamn punchline in the office bathroom. Their laughter echoed, stretched, warped the space around her. I mean, one of them added, I guess it's harmless. She's just embarrassing. Embarrassing. A word that clung to her skin like sweat. Footsteps shuffled. A door opened, then another. Laughter faded down the hall. Vanessa stood motionless, staring at the back of the stall door like it had betrayed her. There, scratched into the paint, was a crude heart with T+S for Eva inside it, probably drawn by someone who also thought she was invisible. She waited, counted to 30, then flushed, mechanically, out of habit, and stepped out. Her reflection caught her off guard. Fluorescent light turned her olive skin sallow. Her lipstick was faded. Her eyes were redder than they'd been 5 minutes ago. She didn't cry, not really, but something behind her eyes shifted. She washed her hands, slowly, methodically, like she needed something to do with them or she'd punch a soap dispenser off the wall. On her way out, she passed Kelsey again, in the hallway now, scrolling through her phone like she hadn't just sucker-punched a colleague's dignity. Vanessa gave her a polite nod. Kelsey didn't even look up. Back at her desk, Vanessa sat in silence, staring at the email she had drafted earlier, a performance brief for the CMO's Q4 campaign. She was supposed to be in that pitch room tomorrow, had helped develop the creative for weeks. When the meeting invite updated 30 minutes later, her name was gone, replaced with a junior copywriter. No explanation, just a shuffle, like she'd been erased mid-sentence. She blinked, closed the email, opened Instagram. At Working Mom in Heels now read 48.9K followers. But it didn't feel like a win, it felt like a target. She clicked over to her DMs, one from Harper. Love your post today. Are you ever in New York? Vanessa exhaled. There it was. The world outside her cubicle, curious, watching, interested. And the world inside it, shrinking her, mocking her, shutting doors before she could knock. Minimized the tab. Opened a blank slide deck. A new post idea formed in her mind, even as her heart thudded behind her ribs like a trapped animal. Here's how it feels when your ambition becomes their comedy. No punchline this time, just quiet rage and resolve. Vanessa got the hint when her calendar started thinning like a receding hairline. Meetings she'd helped schedule, creative huddles, brand voice syncs, pitch previews, started going on without her. He'd open the shared deck and see updated slides with font choices she'd never pick and copy that read like it was written by a caffeinated AI. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Calendars glitch. People forget to loop in. Then she spotted a meeting invite for the Harper campaign's visual strategy roundtable, her domain, and her name was crossed out. Literally struck through in the notes history, replaced by Mia, junior brand coordinator with more enthusiasm than experience, and an Instagram feed that looked like a Forever 21 ad having a seizure. It wasn't subtle, but Vanessa knew how the game worked. No one ever says you're being sidelined. They just gently edge you out while calling it rotation or fresh perspective or team-wide growth. Fine. Let them rotate. Showed up to work the next day in a navy blazer sharp enough to slice cheese and heels high enough to make her regret every step. Not a power move, a precise one. No loud prints, no sparkles, just polished, pointed restraint. She replaced her usual dry humor captions with strategic insights. Swapped the trending audio for soft classical lo-fi. Instead of when your boss says circle back, but means bury it, posted a reminder, clarity in leadership begins with self-awareness. The loudest voice isn't always the clearest. Minimalist, sharp, corporate enough to scare HR but not enough to get flagged, and they were definitely watching. She caught them in the act one Thursday afternoon, walking past the HR nook on the 8th floor, where the walls were glass but the ethics were foggy. She saw Terrence, the newly appointed social risk analyst, screen recording her profile. Literally, recording his screen. Her face paused mid-sentence, pixelated in slow motion as he hovered over the caption. He jumped when she tapped the glass, smiled awkwardly. Did the Universal just working on some compliance stuff wave? Vanessa smiled back, didn't break stride. Back at her desk, she took her time opening her analytics. Impressions up, saves up, shares up. But the engagement wasn't coming from her regular followers. It was internal. Content was bouncing around Slack threads like contraband. Let them watch. She started scheduling posts at 9:17 a.m. sharp, right when everyone logged in and started pretending they hadn't already been doom-scrolling since 8. Each reel crafted like a scalpel, not enough to accuse, but impossible to ignore. Some companies ask you to bring your whole self to work, then blacklist you for having a self. No hashtags, no branding, just clean white captions over footage of her prepping for work. Hair tied back, neutral lips, a closet full of muted ambition. She started drinking her coffee in the break room again, sat straighter in meetings. When people tried to gloss over her, she'd circle back with quiet precision. Let me expand on that since the idea originated in my deck. No eye contact, just daggers through her syntax. The junior strategist Mia tried to loop her in once, nervous. Hey, wasn't sure if you saw the latest update on the Harper brief. I, ran with the voice you kinda starred last quarter, and Vanessa didn't flinch. Sounds like you're building on a solid foundation. Just make sure it holds. She wasn't mad at Mia. The girl was being used like office garnish. But Vanessa didn't have time to babysit someone else's clout ladder. She was playing for bigger stakes now. The posts kept coming. One a day, each more surgical than the last. Silence isn't professionalism. It's unpaid emotional labor. When they say you're too much, ask what part of your competence makes them uncomfortable. The follower count hit 49.7K, then 50, then 50.2, and then Harper commented again, this time on a post about corporate erasure. Visibility isn't vanity, it's survival. Harper, say it louder. Some of us are listening. That comment got 2,300 likes in 4 hours. That's when the reshuffle began. The internal Slack channels started going silent whenever she joined. The HR newsletter included a new paragraph on social media mindfulness, conveniently citing anonymous employee examples. She read it over her lunch, fork hovering above wilted arugula, and nearly laughed. If they wanted a problem, they'd get a polished one. She'd spent years making herself small to fit into rooms that were never designed for her voice. Now, make herself so visible they couldn't look away. And she'd do it wearing neutral tones, with a steady tone and a caption that burned like sage in a locked office. Let them try to stifle that. The ping came while Vanessa was stirring lukewarm marinara over the stove with one hand and Googling how to remove silly putty from suede with the other. Her son, Leo, had turned the living room into a crime scene of glitter, cheese dust, and chaos. She was still wearing her work slacks, barefoot, mascara half melted from the day's humidity. The only thing she had left in the tank was the hope that Leo would fall asleep before she had to rewash his daycare blanket. She glanced at her phone, mostly expecting a Slack ping from yet another intern asking if alignment meant the same thing as approval. But it wasn't Slack. It was Instagram. At Real Harper M commented on your post. She blinked, stared again. Harper Monroe, queen of curated chaos, host of Morning Reset, two-time NYT bestseller, Vogue cover darling, tech speaker UGG, founder of the lifestyle brand Grit Plus Grace, and the rumored face of Larch and Flint's Q4 mega campaign. Vanessa knew the slide deck by heart, knew how the campaign teased modern elegance meets authenticity, knew the budget line, $5 million earmarked for talent, shoot, promo, and rollout. Now that talent had just commented on her post. Say it louder. Some of us are listening. Vanessa didn't breathe, not for a full 10 seconds. She clicked the profile. Verified. 4.2 million followers. Her last post was a teaser, a black and white photo of her staring into a mirror with the caption, "This fall, I'm partnering with a brand that gets it. No fakes, no fluff, just real." And then came the second ping. At Real Harper M sent you a DM. He dropped the spoon into the sauce. Leo yelled from the living room, "Mom, SpongeBob's frozen again." Vanessa didn't hear him. Her thumb trembled over the message tab. Harper M just wanted to say, "I love your page. You make corporate life feel seen. Been following for weeks. Sent one of your reels to my creative team yesterday." She sat down, right on the kitchen floor, next to a Buzz Lightyear sock and a crumpled granola bar wrapper. Then another message popped. Harper M, also random, but would you ever be open to a quick chat? My team's been talking about spotlighting real voices. You're high on our list. Vanessa stared at the screen like it had grown wings. This wasn't one of those collab for exposure scams. This was Harper Monroe, the real deal. Her name didn't just open doors, it owned the building. She typed back calmly, somehow managing not to throw in 6 exclamation points and an accidental gif of opera screaming. Vanessa, "Hi Harper, thank you so much. That means a lot. I'd love to talk, let me know what works for your team." The reply was instant. Harper M, "I'll have someone reach out tomorrow. Excited, you've got edge and grace." Rare combo. Vanessa stared at the screen, heart hammering, sauce forgotten. Leo walked into the kitchen, holding a soggy Rice Krispie treat. "Can I have pancakes?" "Yes," she whispered. "You can have anything." The next morning, Harper's team sent a Calendly link with time slots marked PR Touchpoint, Creator Feature. Vanessa clicked the first available and stared at her laptop like it might self-destruct. She knew what this was, not a job offer, not a guaranteed spotlight, but something bigger. Visibility, possibility. That afternoon, Char emailed a friendly nudge about her role in visual-facing campaigns being fluid for Q4. She smiled. "Fluid, huh?" She clicked Mark as read, then pulled up the original Harper campaign doc from the server. Still marked confidential. Still filled with mock-ups of Harper smiling in beige silk, standing in open-plan offices that looked like no one ever spilled coffee in them. Still based on authenticity. Vanessa laughed under her breath. Oh, they wanted authenticity, just didn't want it from her. That night, she posted a reel. A short clip of her entering a dim conference room, pulling out a chair, smoothing down her skirt, and looking directly into the camera. Text overlay, they say they want real, until real walks in without a ring light. No hashtags, no music, just quiet power. Harper liked it within 10 minutes. And commented, "Imagine hiring actors to tell stories real women already live." Vanessa didn't reply. Need to? She had seen the board. And now, for the first time, she could see the whole damn chessboard. The pieces were moving. She was done playing pawn. The meeting was scheduled with all the subtlety of a corporate ambush. Subject line quick sync policy clarification, smiling face with smiling eyes, sent at 7:03 a.m., marked high priority. Vanessa read it while packing Leo's lunch, smearing peanut butter over wheat bread like she was buttering a weapon. By 9:15 a.m., she was in conference room C, not her usual floor, not her usual HR contact. The room smelled like stale coffee and lavender disinfectant. A single pitcher of water on the table like they were trying to appear hydrated and non-hostile. Seated across from her were Kelsey, HR turtleneck, and someone new. Gavin, a compliance partner who introduced himself like he was auditioning for a reboot of Suits, overgelled, undercaffeinated, and radiating just following orders energy. "We appreciate you making time for this," Gavin began, tapping his Surface tablet like he was entering her sins into a spreadsheet. It's not a formal disciplinary meeting, just a friendly alignment conversation. Vanessa folded her hands. Of course. Always happy to align. Kelsey chimed in, all syrup and steel. We've noticed your social media presence has become a bit more visible. She pulled up a screenshot on her tablet, Vanessa's most recent reel. Her walking through a lobby in slow motion, captioned, "Sometimes the only promotion you get is clarity." A soft track played underneath, subtle, orchestral. No dancing, no brand mentions. Kelsey tilted the tablet like she was revealing a crime scene. You understand how this might be misinterpreted. Vanessa's smile didn't flinch. Misinterpreted by whom? Gavin cleared his throat. Our concern isn't the content per se. It's the optics. We're in the middle of brand reinvention. Tone matters. And when an employee's external presence becomes part of the broader conversation, there are risks. He slid a single sheet across the table. Header, voluntary alignment memorandum language so polished it could have been drafted by a robot in pearls. We're asking team members with a public presence to commit to shared brand values, just a light memo. Not a gag order, obviously, just some reasonable guidelines. Vanessa skimmed it. Highlights included refraining from ambiguous messaging that might appear critical of company culture, avoiding content that could be perceived as reflective of internal dynamics, maintaining brand positivity across all personal platforms. She looked up. Interesting. Kelsey smiled like a dentist about to drill without numbing. We trust your judgment. Just need something on paper that reflects mutual respect. Vanessa set the paper down. And if I choose not to sign, Gavin fumbled. It's entirely voluntary, of course, right? She tapped the table gently once, then leaned forward, voice quiet but crisp. I'll consider my brand's alignment too. No smile, no apology. She stood, straightened her jacket, left the memo untouched. As she walked out, she opened Instagram and saw the notification. At Real Harper M liked your reel. That same reel. The slow walk, clarity won. Harper's comment, and sometimes clarity gets you further than any fake applause. Vanessa didn't respond, just took a screenshot and saved it in a folder marked fuel. She walked back to her desk slower than usual, not dragging, floating, not because she wasn't furious. She was. Her fists clenched inside her coat pockets so tight her nails dug half-moons into her palms. But fury wasn't the move. Fury made noise. Vanessa was playing the quiet long game. Thought the threat was her tone. Her captions, her metaphors, they still hadn't figured out the real risk. She wasn't influencing anyone. She was documenting the hypocrisy. And now she had an audience. It started with a glitch in the silence. At precisely 10:42 a.m. on a Wednesday, an email landed in the inbox of Daniel Clay, Chief Marketing Officer of Larch and Flint. The subject line was clean. Elegant. Just 4 words. A quick clarification HM inside. The message was shorter than most automated out-of-office replies. Daniel, before we finalize filming dates, I had one small question. Do you treat your internal creators with the same dignity you expect from external ones? Best, Harper M. No emojis. No exclamation points. Just curiosity dipped in ice. Clay read it 3 times before forwarding it with the subject line. Kelsey HR, Gavin Compliance, Leanne Marketing Ops, and a few other people whose job titles began with brand and ended with strategy. He scheduled an emergency sync for noon. Meanwhile, Vanessa was sipping coffee at her desk, watching the office vibe shift like a windless storm rolling in sideways. Leanne walked past her without making eye contact. Kelsey passed by holding a laptop like a riot shield, whispering into her headset. Gavin had that hunted look in his eyes, like someone had asked him to explain ethics using only a calculator. Vanessa opened her browser, typed in morning resetcom. Harper's latest blog post was live, where real lives meet brand promises. She didn't need to read it. She'd inspired it. 12 floors up, in a sealed conference room that smelled like lemon sanitizer and nervous regret. He clicked on Harper's email again and stared at it like it was a math problem with no numbers. This is a vibe check, said Leanne flatly. She's not asking for data. She's feeling something. She's a lifestyle brand, Kelsey chimed in. They always do this, it's just posturing. Gavin cleared his throat. Do we know what she's referring to? Clay looked up, deadpan. Should I? Kelsey shifted in her seat. There was a situation. Kind of. There's an employee, Vanessa Matthews, runs a public Instagram account. Working mom something. She's been getting a lot of traction. Compliance flagged it. We had a conversation. What kind of conversation? We asked her to consider aligning with our tone. Did she violate any policies? No, but it was tone adjacent, brand adjacent. So she didn't do anything wrong, Clay clarified, but you pressured her to sound more on message. It wasn't pressure. Did she sign anything? No. Clay leaned back in his chair. And Harper knows about this. How? Silence. Then Gavin muttered, they follow each other. Clay blinked. Jesus Christ. The room fell into a strange quiet, the kind that settles when everyone suddenly remembers how replaceable they are. Back downstairs, Vanessa's phone buzzed with a DM. Harper M., thanks for confirming what I suspected. Not everyone practices what they post. Vanessa stared at the message. Her throat tightened, not with anxiety, but with something heavier. Satisfaction. Vindication in slow bloom. She didn't respond right away. She let it sit there, glowing on her screen like a private victory. The trap wasn't snapping shut yet, but the bait had been noticed. The pressure had shifted. She could feel it in the air conditioning vents, in the way people now smiled too tightly, or not at all. When the Harper campaign launched, it was supposed to be the CMO's crown jewel, the final proof that Larch and Flint had leveled up from scrappy agency to polished empire. Now, Harper wasn't just reconsidering tone. She was questioning culture. And Vanessa? She was still exactly where she'd always been. Overlooked, underestimated, and suddenly, very, very relevant. It hit the trades on a Friday morning, quiet and devastating like a glass of wine knocked over on white carpet. At age-breaking Harper Monroe withdraws from unnamed Fortune 500 campaign subheadline. Insider sources cite workplace dignity and internal value misalignment as reasons behind the unexpected exit. The article didn't name Larch and Flint, but it didn't have to. Industry people connected the dots faster than HR could draft a no-comment email. The only agency publicly teasing a Q4 campaign with Harper was L&F, and every freelancer, director, and coffee-fetching intern in marketing knew it. Inside the office, no one said a word to Vanessa, but she could feel it. Slack channels that used to buzz were now oddly quiet whenever she entered. Threads paused mid-joke. The design team huddled around their screens like cold survivors on a lifeboat. Someone had removed the campaign timeline board from the third-floor hallway. Just gone. Like it had never existed. Vanessa's phone rang around 11:03 a.m., a number she didn't recognize. She stepped into the stairwell before answering, out of habit more than necessity. Hi, is this Vanessa Matthews? Yes, this is Joylyn Chen. I'm an executive recruiter with Cobalt Collective. We specialize in strategic placements for senior creatives. Just saw your latest post, and I've got to say, you're killing it. Vanessa blinked. Thank you. I'm sure this is out of the blue, but your voice? Your content strategy. That mix of vulnerability and precision, it's rare. If you're open to a conversation, we'd love to talk. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just smiled and replied, let's put something on the calendar. By the time she stepped back into the office, a mass email had gone out with the subject line, shifting Q4 priorities, internal realignment in progress. Another word salad of plausible deniability. She sat at her desk, refreshed her Instagram, watched the engagement spike. Her latest post, just a still photo of her pouring coffee into a chipped mug with the caption, I don't chase culture, I clarify it, was being reshared faster than HR could make a new Canva graphic. At 2:17 p.m., Kelsey from HR pinged her on Slack. Hey, can we grab 10 mins sometime today? Quick check-in, just you and me. Vanessa stared at the message for a full minute, then typed, thanks for reaching out. I'll pass. Feel free to put anything in writing. She closed Slack before the read receipt could bubble up. No fear, no second guessing, just calm. She was no longer playing defense. She was the defense. The quiet firewall against everything phony, spineless, and smile-plastered in that office. The meeting she wasn't invited to happened at 3 p.m. in conference room E. The blinds were drawn. Nobody came out smiling. After work, Vanessa sat in her car for a moment, watching the sunset stretch across the parking lot like it had somewhere better to be. She turned on her phone. Harper had posted something. Black background, white text. They wanted my face, not my standards. I said no. Pinned comment, protect your voice. Even when they pretend not to hear it. Vanessa reposted it to her story without a word. No filter, no caption. Just a signal to the people who had been watching, doubting, laughing. She was still here, but she wasn't the same. She wasn't afraid of their whispers anymore, because whispers didn't move markets. Her silence just did. By Monday, it wasn't a rumor. It was a headline. As fix business. Harper Monroe officially drops Fortune 500 campaign over workplace dignity clause, conflict marketing mouth. Harper walks. When authenticity isn't just a slogan linked in trending topics. Hash workplace dignity clause, hash Harper withdraws, hash internal creators matter, the brand they wouldn't name. Everyone already knew. Larch and Flint's reputation didn't go up in flames. It cracked, quiet and sudden, like old porcelain snapping in someone's hands. The Harper campaign homepage went dark by noon. All social teasers vanished. Influencer collabs pulled their posts. Harper's publicist issued a statement so clean it felt surgical. We believe in partnerships that align not only in voice, but in values. When we sense divergence, we step away. No shade, just standards. Inside the office, the walls felt like they were closing in. People whispered over the sound of Slack pings and nervous footfalls. The elevator paused on every floor like it was stalling for time. Clay, the CMO, was no longer walking. He was storming. Into HR, out of HR, into legal, out of legal, carrying a tablet like a loaded weapon. Every time he passed Vanessa's desk, his eyes skipped right over her, like he couldn't decide if she was a ghost or a fuse box he was too scared to touch. 1:23 p.m. She received her first meeting invite in weeks. Subject: Emergency Brand Strategy Session, mandatory attendance, location: Conference Room Delta, glass walls, no escape. The invite list was small. CMO, legal, creative director, marketing ops, and her. She walked in 5 minutes early, as always. Sat where she always used to, third chair from the left, notebook open, pen capped. She didn't look around. Didn't speak. Air was swampy with panic. No one touched the pitcher of water. Clay paced while legal muttered behind a laptop. The creative director tried to pretend this was all sudden and surprising. Eventually, Clay stopped pacing and turned directly to Vanessa. His voice was tight but polite, like he was trying to cut steak with a plastic knife. "Vanessa, do you know Harper Monroe?" The room turned toward her so sharply it could have been choreographed. She looked up. Calm. Clear. Steady? Yes, Clay blinked. "How?" "She follows my page. Messaged me a few weeks ago." She paused, then added, "She asked me what it's like working here." A longer pause. I told the truth. Silence. Actual silence. No one breathed, no one moved. Legal shifted in his chair like his spine was made of unpaid invoices. Clay's jaw twitched. And what truth was that? Vanessa met his eyes, not cold, not smug, just finished. "Your brand values don't extend past your lobby signage." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. The truth didn't have to shout to shatter glass. Clay opened his mouth, then closed it, sat down without saying a word. The meeting limped forward. They tried to brainstorm pivot strategies and dignity-focused messaging. Someone suggested a diversity spotlight campaign. Someone else proposed a mental health series. Vanessa said nothing. She watched them scramble, arms flailing in polite marketing jargon, trying to plug holes in a ship they drilled themselves. And when it ended, she stood. No eye contact, no need. She walked out the way she walked in, shoulders square, silence sharp, eyes ahead. Outside, her phone buzzed again. A DM from Harper. Saw the headlines. "You okay?" Vanessa typed, "I am now." Then she shut her phone off and smiled, not for them, for her. Because chaos always reveals where the power really lies. This time, it lived in her silence. The meeting was already a funeral before Clay walked in. No smiles, no pastries, not even the desperate chatter people fill rooms with when they think they still have leverage. Just silence and the sound of a department unraveling in real time. HR sat at one end of the glass conference room, Kelsey, Gavin, two of the interns now analysts. Eyes darting like they were waiting for someone else to explain the mess they'd made. Vanessa was on the far side. Not in the meeting, not officially, just present, invited by legal for context, but seated in a corner chair like a silent witness. No notes, no laptop, no armor needed. Clay entered holding a single object, his tablet. He didn't speak at first. He just placed it hard on the table, screen up, in front of the HR team like it was exhibit A in a trial no one realized had already begun. Screen showed an Instagram post. Vanessa's from 2 nights ago, just a black slide, white text. Simple caption, "Dignity doesn't have to be loud, but it always echoes." Pinned at the top was Harper's comment, "They wanted my face, not my standards." Clay didn't sit. He didn't blink. "Her name sound familiar?" he asked, voice low but sharper than anything else in the room. No one answered. Kelsey looked like someone had punched her lungs out of her body. Gavin opened his mouth, then closed it. One of the junior analysts shifted like she wanted to disappear into the seams of the carpet. Clay didn't wait. He tapped the screen again, pulling up a slide. revenue impact, canceled media buys, PR fallout, partner churn rate, legal fees. Then a final document, internal social media risk report subject. Vanessa Matthews Clay tilted the screen toward Kelsey. You built a whole report, tracked an employee's personal account, harassed her with a memo, mocked her in shared spaces, and never once thought to ask who was watching her page. His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to, because in this room, the volume came from reputation loss, not decibels. Do you know how many brands would kill for an internal creator with that kind of tone, that reach, that restraint? He turned to legal. Initiate HR restructure. Full audit. I want names. Then, finally, Vanessa, you're the new director of brand voice. He didn't ask. He declared. No congratulations, no handshake, just recognition long overdue and clean. Vanessa nodded once. She didn't gloat. She didn't smirk. She just stood, gathered her things, and walked out of that room like it owed her rent. Later that night, after the office had cleared out and the Slack channels filled with half-scared emojis and passive-aggressive HR autoresponses, Vanessa posted a story. No face, no talking. Just a photo of her chipped coffee mug on her new desk. Captioned, "You can't manufacture authenticity. You have to live it. No hashtags, no tags, just truth. And behind that truth, every woman who'd ever been overlooked until she became undeniable." Vanessa didn't need revenge. She got the one thing this industry never offers willingly, the final word. Appreciate you sticking around, you wise old rebels. Smash that subscribe button, or this fossil might just cause another epic fiasco.